It's quite unusual that they would turn something as big as that. And how many people do you think watch Zeitgeist?
Well, I know the Google counter's maxed out, isn't it? There's 50 million or something. So I know online there's millions, but not everyone can get online, and not everybody will sit and watch their little laptop screen or their broadband, whatever. So the TV is obviously the main way of reaching people. We've got DVDs today, as pretty much everyone's got a DVD player, and we figure we can hand that to people.
Which part of Zeitgeist affected you the most?
Wow, I suppose every part in sequence, because I was brought up in a kind of Christian school and believed all of that to be true. I found some connection in that, like a God or whatever it is, whatever that connection, that love source. So I thought that to be true, and then it fell apart. And then as I watched Zeitgeist, I thought, hey, that makes sense. Why some of why some of it works and some of it doesn't, if you know what I mean. And then the 9/11, you know, exposed, and then the money and so on. It all adds up. It's like one big. It's like one big jigsaw, really, isn't it? It's all the pieces that you've always thought come together. You know, it finally puts those pieces of the jigsaw into place. I suppose that's the best way to put it.
When you watched part on Zeitgeist about September the 11th, how did that make you feel? Were you really angry when you looked at it in more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you start to realise that, I suppose, human life can be just so easily, and 7/7, all these kind of bombings and things, you know, just used as a terror, a form of terror to scare everyone else around them, you realise how little they must truly care, and the whole thing is just an act. But then I don't want to get too dragged down into that and not just realise, hey, at least we know, at least we're free, and we can be happy and have a positive life, you know.
If you have a positive message to give to people about Zeitgeist, what would it be?
Just watch it skeptically, open-mindedly. You know, don't take our word for it. We're a bunch of people outside the BBC with blue balloons. Watch it for yourself. Check it out. And research it. You know, don't just take it at face value. There's a lot of other movies out there. This just happens to be ZDAY, Zeitgeist, whatever. But there's a whole bunch more documentaries along the same lines.
Well, thank you very much for that, Seb.
My pleasure.
Nice to have your points of view. Hi, Kenny. Now, I believe you're a big part of putting this together today and bringing all these people. Yes?
Yeah, I guess we just wanted to do something, you know. We found out, like everyone else who watches Zeitgeist for the first time, we found out that what should we do about it afterwards, and then we found out about the movement site, www.thezeitgeistmovement.com, and we found out about ZDAY. We didn't know anything about it, so we looked around London, and there was a few screenings going on, but there wasn't actually anything like to show unity. So yeah. So we thought, yeah, let's try and do something, and we're really pleased at how many people came along.
I think it's great that you've had a good turnout and you've got the good weather for it. As I've asked the others, why did Zeitgeist affect people so much?
I think, do you know what it is that everyone's sitting at home with all these questions for themselves, right? And they're all like, they know what's upsetting them, but they're not asking anyone. And so Zeitgeist it doesn't give you the answers, or it just gives you a whole different perspective that perhaps that the people who watch it can then generate their own answers to these questions that they don't have answers for at the moment. And the fact that media itself is just so one-sided, I think it's just refreshing to have another opinion, you know.
I think I have to agree with you on that subject, because the things which are being aired on the programmes, TV channels such as Edge Media TV, and there is a lot of programmes out there which don't get onto mainstream TV, which are such important topics, and what the people want answers to. Why do you think that is the way?
Well, obviously, like when you actually watch Zeitgeist and you understand the higher sort of echelon and pecking order as such of who controls who and who's in charge of who else, then, you know, if I was doing something and I didn't want anyone to know about it, then I wouldn't put it on my channel either, you know. So I guess zeitgeist is really important to me because, not because of particularly what it says, but it stimulates the freedom of thought is basically what it stimulates, is getting people to ask questions. It's like, I mean, I've picked a load of holes in the actual Zeitgeist movie. I love it. On entry level, it stimulates people to ask questions, and that's what I think is the most important message of it, is not to take, you know, read everything in the papers or whatever's on the news and just be like, all right, that sounds good enough, I'll deal with that. Because a lot of the time it's not the truth.
I mean, in Zeitgeist, it does start off with the programme saying we have been lied to.
Yeah.
And what do you think we have been lied to with?
Well, I mean, I can only speak for myself personally, but I directly have been lied to. Happy ZDAY! Oh, and loads of police too. Well, I mean, I spent 7 years in the army.
Oh, okay.
I was constantly lied to again and again, and told that what we were doing was for the better good of peace, for humanity, to save people, and really it's all lies. And so I particularly feel personally lied to on that. 9/11 obviously it's a big thing, and I don't have any direct involvement with people who lost lives in 9/11, but the fact that this could be more than what they're telling us is bad enough, you know. And to be honest, I've been lied to on every aspect of my life, and it's now like 27 years old, catching up on a whole life's worth of ignorance. It's almost like non-stop research, but I feel a lot more better for it.
Who do you think is at the root of what happened on September the 11th?
Oh, I mean, I definitely can see. Well, I don't know, and I guess the best thing about it is that I don't know, but I'm willing to admit that I don't know. And a lot of people who say, yeah, Al Qaeda did it, or yeah, it was a terrorist, it's like, well, how do you know that? You know, why don't you look into it a little bit more? Personally, I can see the sense in it being for money. I mean, I see everything. I've served in Iraq. I've seen the devastation that we've done as peacekeepers. I've been standing in my own boots and seeing it, and it's just like it's not a good thing. And definitely learning more about the Sumatrians, learning more about the actual geological area, learning more about the financial interest in the oil, and just looking into everything a little bit more further than the news gives it to you. It's just more and more knowledge, I guess. Knowledge is power, and
that's very true, isn't it? Knowledge is power.
Knowledge. Totally.
Well, Kenny, thank you so much for your time and putting your thoughts on camera of how you feel about this.
I'll tell you what, I'm put